right. Hi, everybody. Welcome. I've got Amanda with me here, and we are here to let you guys know what the Foundations course covers. We are really excited to bring this to you, to the alumni specifically, and we want to just let you guys know what it is and why you would want to take it. So, Amanda, can you explain to us what the Foundations course covers?
Yeah, thanks, Tosca, for asking. And I'm excited to talk about this. I'm excited to bring this to all of you. The foundation it's actually a great name, that it really, for me, is the basis of recovery. And no matter where we are in our recovery, whether we're brand new or whether we've had 10 or 20 years of abstinence and sobriety, the foundation to me is a game changer and necessity. So what the foundation is in simple terms, it's a big book study. But really, the reality is it is a deep dive into the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, um, led by professionals that we've all been well trained on it. And it's really, for me, it was a link to, I had a lot of deep understanding of the big book. I've studied the big book for years. It's very, very important to me. And when I was witnessing this information, when it was being taught to me, I just kept being blown away, at there was a deeper understanding, a much more personal connection for me. It made sense to me. And I didn't even know that it hadn't made sense to me. Like, it was all fine. I was fine the way it was. And this was just this deeper cut. Um, and for me, it was more like a real life, day to day living situation that I could take what I was learning in the big book to my day to day life and understanding in a way, that I'd never been able to. So I would say the foundation, um, kind of combines, the beautiful deep wisdom of the big book, which there's nothing like it, with an up to date, um, I would say, state of the art treatment model that SHiFT brings. So the big book on its own is an amazing treatment model. And I think that a lot of that has been missed. So we really bring it back to the big book as a treatment model for food addiction, and kind of into the 21st century. So it just, to me, it's like a beautiful synchronized marriage of these two models of recovery.
Yeah, thanks. And where did we get this quote new material? I'm calling it new material because it's not really new, but where did we get it from? Do you want to explain?
Yeah, well, Dr. Gutorm, who has been working in the treatment of addiction for years and years and years, it's his brilliant material, and it's literally his work of being in the big book combined with supporting people up and out of the depths of addiction, his last 30 years of doing that work. And so it has literally taken him 30 years to create this course. And he used to work a lot one on one with clients. And then he stopped doing that to only teach professionals how to offer the big book treatment model in treatment centers. And so it's his complete brilliant work, um, along with all of the big book. It's already brilliant work. So it came from Dr. Gutorm, and he's been training. I think it's been about 10 years or so that he's fully focused on training treatment centers, mainly in Europe, how to use the model of the big book as their only treatment model. Um, when I say only, I just want to be cautious. It's the big book model of treatment with a therapeutic approach, with the professionals delivering it. And so, all of the staff, coaches, and counselors have been trained in this material. And I can't remember, maybe you do, Tosca, but I think Guterm's videos and the depth of his um, learning. I mean, it was hours and hours and hours. And then the shift team took that, and we spent hours and hours putting it into a program that we could deliver to our clients. So it was hours and hours and hours and hours and years of Gutorm's work that we were all trained on. And then we took that as a team and put it into um, different learning materials for us to be able to deliver this program. Um, and it's about a it's turning it, what we're looking at, it's kind of about a 16, 17 session program, give or take. And depending on how it's delivered, it can be delivered, all in a 2 week intensive. It could be delivered on a weekend and then once a week. So depending on how it's delivered, this first one that we're launching out to the alumni is we're doing a full weekend, and then we have a follow up for the however many weekends after that. So that's where it came from, and
Yeah, yeah. And Dr. Gutorm, I took the class with the Impact School, and it's 40 hours is what the class was. And yeah, brilliant. It would be a word that would describe him. Dr. Gutorm has just sliced and diced the big book probably so many times. Surprised he doesn't have that thing memorized. I mean, he
he
just,
might.
I know, big chunks of it. But I've never seen, I mean, some of the stuff that he just brought out that was so obvious now that I've never heard anyone talk about. Like, the fact that the big book was a marketing tool, was written as a marketing tool. That just kind of blew me away. It's like, oh, yeah, because we need to be sold to the idea of recovery because we just don't, from where we're sitting in our addiction, we don't know that recovery is even possible. So it was just an interesting perspective, and wow, just powerful and precise. Everything is just the precise
Mhm.
directions from the big book was one of his big that's his big thing. Is like, no, this book precisely tells us how to recover. And it does. It really does. So how oh, go ahead.
Tosca, I just want to say that you brought up a couple things that I think are really important. One is, I will say, I love the description for Dr. Gutorm's work being precise and brilliant. It is precise and brilliant. And yeah, you brought up the fact that the big book written like a marketing tool, and that has been amazing for me as someone that has been, treating people with addiction for over 10 years now. And it really is that. It's like there's two parts of the marketing. One is marketing to people that they get that's them and how serious it is, because the disease of addiction is so crazy. And he really talks about what our dilemma is, and the roundabout. That in of itself is mind blowing.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so we need to be marketed that that is us 100%. And therefore, the next marketing is, hey, this is the life you can have, but this is exactly how you have to get there. So it's like, this is it now. And we have to be sold on that because denial is so strong. Because this is it, the only solution is this, then we get this life. So these are the things we have to do, and we have to do them precisely. And I think I understood that, but it's hard to explain. And I just want to say that, so we have in the last two intensives, we've been dribbling some of this stuff out, and I cannot tell you. I mean, the comments I get almost every time I deliver it is, and these are people that are literally brand new and seasoned. A seasoned member said to me on Wednesday, "I have never heard what you just told me. It was about six and seven, and understood it in a way." And that is, we hear those comments constantly. Like, I'll just say this, Tosca, maybe, anyways, I'll just say this. I can't imagine anybody that's in recovery not wanting to do this, and this not being a life changing course for them. And I mean that with every bone in my body. Like, it's every time I go to lead it, I am so excited to be showing these materials, because they're, to me, they're just like, amazing. I just think they're amazing, and I'm getting, thank goodness, I'm getting the same feedback from the clients that have received some of it. So, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And one of my questions was going to be how did this course impact your personal recovery?
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a good question, Tosca. I think there's a couple things that come for me, and I mean, I really can say this. Every part of the big book, which again I will say, I really had a good understanding of, I now see in more understanding, more connection. And it sounds funny. I've not thought about this, but these are the words that are coming to my mind. I really understand at a different level how deadly this disease is, and that I actually, if I follow precisely, I get to have this unbelievable life. And I do have that in so many ways, but it's just that the clarity, like it's just right there, black and white. There's not a lot of room. And then some of the other things, like the way um, Dr. Guthorm has deciphered, if you will, things around our shortcomings and our defective characters and the differences and how we look at the four steps. I will just say we just finished the fourth step and the fifth step and the sixth and seventh, actually, with the group we're doing right now. And there is 9 or 10 people doing it. And I believe, I don't think I'm exaggerating, that every one of them, if not every one of them, 90% of them said they had never experienced a step four like that. And these are people that have, most of them have done it many times. Some are brand new. What a beautiful gift to the folks that are brand new. Oh my gosh, like what a
Mhm.
gift that they're getting this right off the bat. But so, yeah, I mean, I could answer that question for hours about how it's impacted me. And then every time I get to teach it, I'm like, oh my gosh,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
just, it feels exciting.
It's
It feels
deep.
so deep. And it feels like, I don't know what the word is, but like it feels so accurate or something, but in a very peaceful way.
Yeah. So it's like really clear. He just makes everything so
Exactly.
clear. Yeah.
What about for you, Tosca? How has it affected you personally?
Yeah, well,
I'm
I
turning
had,
the tables on you here.
yeah, well, I certainly didn't have the knowledge of the big book that you came into it with. So, um, for me, though, yeah, it was extremely eye-opening, and I just totally jumped right into this, and I feel like people are going to start hearing these new terminologies around shift of like the roundabout, the Disser's dilemma, and the emotional barometer, and it was like, oh, this is so like clear and it's beautiful when you can see your own life and like, oh, that was what was happening to me, like I don't know, it was kind of just a blurry chaotic mess of like I'm unhappy and I'm in the food and I don't know what to do, and then like just to have it like, well, here's a diagram of what life you've been living, and it's like, oh yes, that is exactly the life I've been living. So it was really really eye-opening, and I love, I use a lot of the material as I'm teaching my webinars. That's what you're seeing in my webinars is mostly Dr. Gutorm's stuff. It's just, it's just basic, so basic to all addictions. I love it. I think it's interesting because, I've noticed many treatment centers like drug and alcohol treatment centers tend to like they kind of want to get the 12 steps in, but they kind of skirt around it. Maybe that has to do with health insurance billing and stuff. But it seems like you with SHiFT are choosing to like dive headlong into full on the deepest 12 step stuff we can get to. And I just thought maybe you could take a minute to explain how, we've got the intensive 2.0. What does that mean now? We've actually had some significant changes to the intensive because of this work. So do you want to explain about that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, well, again, I want to say, I get to ride on the coattails of some pretty phenomenal people, like Dr. Gutorm, like Phil Wardell, like Mary
Mm.
Fushi. So, Phil and Mary absolutely put the container of the 12 steps in the intensive from the very, very beginning, and definitely lived their personal lives by the 12 steps. So, um, that was absolutely not my idea, putting the 12 steps, and it was there. I actually couldn't imagine doing this work without the 12 steps, and many people do it without that, and that's great for that. It really is. That's great for me. I and it's this is not the first place I've worked in treatment, and the other treatment centers I worked at all had a basis of the 12 steps. And so for me, what we've done in the intensive is we are actually now, so the intensive, one of my things that was so important to me was to keep the intention of the intensive, because it's a beautiful program and it works. And so we absolutely have that container. So it's very similar to the way it's been. We people come into the intensive and we're focusing on people. There's kind of the three. They got to get abstinent. They go through detox. Um, and they get a deep cut of step one. So that was the basis of the intensive, and that is still the basis, as well as we do a lot of process work and emotional work if it comes up. And so what we've done now, and then a couple of years ago we added in an aftercare program, but that's been going for a couple of years. So what it looks like now is that we have made the foundation part of the intensive, meaning that by the time people have done the intensive and the aftercare, they have been fully taken through the big book. So we've incorporated the foundation into what I believed was the container for the intensive. So, I mean, I just think it's a brilliant program. So it's the week intensive, whether you're virtual or in person, and then it's about 12 weeks of aftercare that we meet once a week, and we do like our check-in, how's it going, what's going on, and then it's a learning time that we do the big book, and then we go from there. So that is our intensive 2.0. I like it that you're calling it that. So yeah, it's pretty exciting, and
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I just feel excited about it.
It's just added so much to the intensive is what it's done. It's, there's another day, there's weeks more of aftercare, there's hours more of support. It's just, and it's been that important that you believe that this foundational work is that important that you would just plug it in. And our solution is not just putting the food down, right? We need a deeper solution than that.
Yeah, Tosca, you're right about the time. So that when I first came to Acorn, we had a 5 day intensive. Our intensives are now 7 days, as well as, so there was no aftercare. We added aftercare, I think it was 4 weeks, and then we bumped it to 7 weeks. And now we've bumped it to 12 weeks. Really, we're just, and again, we're exactly figuring out exactly how long the aftercare is, because we're not trying to rush through it. The deal is people need the time to go through the big book and they need to understand it. And I am committed to whatever time that takes, that will be what we do in aftercare, and we will
Yeah,
figure it out. And you're right, it is because um, I believe it is that important. Like putting down the food is where we have to start, guaranteed, and then that is not the main work we need to do, and it is that important to me. And we did not, change the prices. Um, and it is hours and hours more people are getting, and it just, to me, my mission is that people have the opportunity to free themselves from addiction to food. And I think it's my responsibility as the leader at SHiFT, and then all of our team, to provide the best foundation we possibly can for that. And today, this is what it looks like to me. And it will change and we will grow. As I learn more, we will grow more. And this is what it looks like today.
yeah. And so it's so beautiful that that you decided to try to give this opportunity for people who have already done an intensive in the past, and they might not be up for an intensive, might not need the help. Maybe food is stable, maybe it's not. But if they've already been through an intensive, this is an opportunity for them to just take the foundation part of the class, and it's just a weekend. And then is it 2 hours a week for, or is it 3 hours?
So the foundation on its own is also an alumni program that you're talking
Mm-hmm.
about. And absolutely, I mean, as I said, and I will say this again, I don't think there's anyone in the SHiFT community, actually, I'll say anyone in recovery, that this course won't be life changing. So, life changing for you. So, whether you are in and out of relapse, whether you've got long term stable recovery, this course is for you. And it's for you in so many ways. It's to deepen your connection to the big book and how it is relevant in your life today. It is transformational when we talk about taking sponsees through it. And that is my, my whole goal here is that people can do this on their own with each other. You don't need us. I mean, I think there always is going to be a place for professionals, but so it's just amazing for people to have these tools. And I mean, again, I just think when people are in an intensive, we want people that speak this language that their new sponsees are going to be speaking. So for our own deeper connection to ourselves, wherever we are on the line of recovery, um, delivering this information, supporting sponsees through it. And I just think it's like for me, recovery is happening forever, and it's such an amazing opportunity for like more self growth, more spiritual connection, more surrender. Um, I can't think of a situation actually that this course wouldn't be for someone. If you're face down in the food, or if you've been out of the food for 20 years. And there's actually not all of our other alumni courses are really much more directed to people that are out of the food, that you've got some sobriety under you. This is for anyone. This is for anyone. Just like our intensive is for anyone. So yeah, I just feel like I feel so excited for this to be an addition to the SHiFT community. Meaning, I don't mean to our offerings. I mean that the people, the family of our SHiFT community, that people can have this resource and this knowledge, I just think is priceless. It's
Yeah,
just very precious.
yeah, yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us your goals with this class and your dreams. And hopefully, if people have questions, they can ask more questions. And when is the date that this class is starting? October?
So this very first one that we're doing, I keep saying the first one, it's not the first one. This will actually be the
The
third time
first,
we've gone
but the
through the
first
material, but it's
alumni
the
one.
first foundation alumni on its own. The first course that we're calling the foundation. It's the weekend of October 13th, 14th, and 15th. So, like our other programs, it starts the Friday evening and goes all day Saturday, all day Sunday. And then it'll be the following 12 Mondays. Well, we run into Christmas there. So, the timing is a little bit, we'll have to figure that out, but it's the following 12 Mondays um,
Monday
for two
nights.
hours.
Yeah.
Monday
Okay.
evenings, yeah, depending on where you are.
Yep.
I think yeah. So
Great.
it's coming.
All right. Get in while you can, people. All right. Thanks,
Thanks,
Amanda.
Tosca.
All right.